Hello, ghouls and goblins. We're here for streaming in a spooky Wonderland. Monica and I are here to share spooky ghost stories of both local and just overall eerie while we're walking through the beautiful Proven Trail system, thanks to the Kent County Park System for letting us walk through here. And Monica has a few words about another spooky opportunity for those who love to make anything with film.
Yes, so you might be asking, why are we walking around in the pitch black in the woods telling scary stories? And that is because we are here to promote the upcoming Kent County Teen Film Festival. We are accepting submissions all the way through January 17th, so this is something great you can work on over the Christmas holiday. Make a film less than 10 minutes, submit it. It can be any genre, including horror. If you need more information, visit www.kdl.org/teenfilmfestival, and we hope to see your submissions.
And with that, let's start our walk, shall we?
You're already creepier than I can
ready to
handle
go.
on this. Okay.
Here we go, spooky walk. As you can see, we are here. It's absolutely lovely out, isn't it?
I mean, it's a little darker than I would prefer, but that's mostly just because I'm scared of the dark.
Well, don't worry. We're the scariest things in these woods, I hope. This reminds me of a story. You know, once we're starting this walk here, did you know that some of our KDL branches are haunted?
None of the branches I frequent, I hope.
Well, I'll share a few stories throughout the evening. And I've got to say, makes you rethink some of your favorite branches and what kind of spooky things show up once we close.
All right, tell me a creepy story.
All right, so one of my favorites is actually from my home branch, the Kent District Library, Wyoming branch. And the reason why it has some spooky encounters is part of it was built on the old library branch, and it's in one of the oldest neighborhoods in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
So you get some spooky old history with that. So one day I was in the back study room, as happy as can be, and I noticed it got a little cold. Didn't think anything of it until the doorknob moved.
Nope.
And locked and unlocked itself. And then I couldn't get out of the room for a little bit. But then it opened again. I jokingly talked to my coworker, and then he told me that he didn't want to tell anybody because he thought it was weird. But a month before that, he was by himself in the back workroom, heard something fall, went to investigate it, and saw a shadow about human height. Then that same night, one of our other coworkers, who's not always there, but sometimes comes in to help us out, I didn't tell her about what happened. But when we were closing about 30 minutes later, she asked if there was anyone in that back area. We said no. And then she said, "Are you sure? I saw someone in that back room."
I don't understand why you all were still voluntarily in the building at this point.
Well, it was closing at that point. We just closed quicker. And I obviously didn't learn my lesson because I still went in that room because it's a really nice room for acoustics. And then I got locked in there again this week. So...
Wait, this week?
This week.
Yep.
Nope.
Nope.
I had to have someone else help me out. And then the worst part is when they opened it, it opened easily.
You heard it here. Haunted study rooms at the Wyoming Library. No, thank you.
But it's okay. Most of them aren't haunted. So statistically, you'll be fine. So that's enough of the branch spooky stuff. Is there anything Kent County-wide?
You want a local creepy story?
Yeah, I love local creepy story.
Well, I am a librarian at the East Grand Rapids branch. And so clearly, I needed a spooky story from East Grand Rapids. So I reached out to Mary Dersh, who not only is one of my coworkers,
Yes.
but also is like the head curator of the East Grand Rapids History Room. She knows everything about East Grand Rapids. If you have any questions, definitely contact Mary Dersh, East Grand Rapids History Room. She's brilliant. Anyway, she told me about the haunted kindergarten room
Oh no.
of East Grand Rapids.
There's one
Yes.
thing that bothers me more than ghosts.
Haunted
Ghost children.
Ghost
Uh-oh.
children. And apologies in advance because any inaccuracies here are all mine and not any of the people that I talked to
Yeah.
about these things. So, in 1851, a gentleman named George S. Lovett, who was one of the recent people to move into the East Grand Rapids area, he decided, ooh, am I dropping my microphone?
Uh-oh.
The creepiness
Oh,
intensifies.
spooky.
Woo. So he decided that he was going to build a gigantic, beautiful house, 2 stories, Gothic Revival style, had
Yeah.
gables and everything. He built it in the middle of like a stand of oak trees, and it was just lovely. And it traded hands over the years. And in the 1920s, it was sold to the city of East Grand Rapids. And the city of East Grand Rapids decided that they were going to turn it into their kindergarten classroom.
Ooh.
Yes. Actually, there's nothing creepy associated with the fact that it was filled with kindergartners. It was fine.
That's good. Hooray. Happy news for that.
It worked as a beautiful classroom for decades and decades. And then in the 60s, for various reasons, they decided that they were going to turn it into a baseball diamond. As you do. So they tore the entire building down.
Yeah, ghosts don't like it when you do that.
Ghosts don't like it when you do that. Now, before the building was torn down, there had been, stories told about this classroom building that at night, after all the cute little kindergartners had gone home, a figure would appear on the second story,
Oh no.
and it would descend the large staircase and walk across the main floor
Ooh.
and disappear into the big stone fireplace
No.
that was across from the stairs.
Ugh.
And people who had seen this apparition said that it looked like a woman,
Yeah.
and maybe she was wearing like, I don't know, some kind of wedding dress, some sort of large flowy dress.
Of course.
Nobody knew anything about her. No one knew where she came from. But that house was rumored to have been part of the Underground Railroad.
Oh.
So people think that maybe it had something to do with that.
That's cool.
But, regardless, after the house was torn down, she vanished and hasn't been seen since.
See?
But,
Yeah.
there's always a but. But that house, when I say that it was torn down, I don't mean that it was like entirely demolished, because when I say that it was all torn down, I don't necessarily mean that it was completely demolished, because there was a local dentist, I think, who was very concerned about the loss of this historical building. What?
Ooh.
What even is that?
Ooh. Didn't remember that last time.
No! I'm so unhappy right now. I'm going home. Alright, well,
As long as we don't mess it up, it should be fine. Or,
imagine this is the building I'm talking to
oh yeah,
about
it was
right now.
really nice use of a prop.
Yeah, there's the fireplace and yeah, just everything. Okay, well, I'm terrified. So, a local dentist had decided that he was going to rebuild this house. So he took all of the pieces after it had been taken apart and he kept them.
Okay.
Well, it never ended up happening. Nobody knows what happened to all of the pieces, but there is one low stone wall in East Grand Rapids that's made out of the rocks from this original Lovett house.
Ooh.
And so, I mean, I'm not saying one way or the other, but who's to say what you might see if you were to visit that wall in the middle of the night? And that's the story of the George S. Lovett haunted kindergarten house.
So this one is actually, this is apparently another fairly famous haunted library branch, mostly because of how old it is. And that is the Krakens Branch. It's the Rockford branch up in Northern County. According to some of my anonymous sources, there was a custodian that used to work there. And one day she was cleaning, like you normally do once everything is closed. And she started to hear something maybe like tap or knock over something. And she turned around to ask who it was. And she felt a tapping on her shoulder. So when she turned around quickly to say, "Who is that?" or "It's closed," he just said, "Sorry to bother you," and then literally vanished.
Wait, there was someone there?
Someone there.
What did they look like?
Apparently, because she talked about it after. It looked just like Kraus, the library that the is named after.
Huh.
Apparently, there are ghost stories that Kraus himself haunts his favorite library.
Wow.
And after that, the custodian swore she would never work in there alone again at night because it scared her. You think someone's there, they talk to you, and then they vanish on you.
Yeah, I really feel like it should always be everyone's goal to never be inside an otherwise abandoned building at night.
Yes. Yep.
That's how the ghosts get you.
That is how they get you. That reminds me of one other little short one. The Kentwood Library actually has another spooky thing happen. And this was told to me by another anonymous source. So this person was shelving, and it was in the second floor. There are 2 floors at Kentwood. And the second floor is more of like the adult section. That's where all the study rooms are for the most part. It's kind of the quiet chill zone of the library. So she was up there shelving. There was one patron up there with her. And when she was shelving, there was like, this area with big oversized books. But they're in shelving.
Sure,
so they're
yeah.
like shelved books. They're not sitting loose or anything like that. One of the big ones literally got pulled out.
Wait. Okay, maybe it's just the wind. Sorry, I'm just a little nervy right now.
But we made it. We made it over the dune. There's some beautiful...
No, I just thought I heard footsteps. Okay, anyway, keep going. Sorry, they were shelving and there's no one walking towards us.
There is
We're
no
going.
one
Keep
walking
going.
towards us. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. We're all on our own. Everything is fine. So anyway, a large book was pulled out of the shelving unit and plopped right on the ground, right in front of the person shelving and the patron. And the patron and the person stared at each other, and the patron went, "Did that just happen?"
Nope.
And she said, "I'm so glad you were here, because if I saw this on my own, no one would believe me."
No.
Yep.
And they just went about their lives? Okay. Maybe it was like a haunted book.
It could have been.
Like the book itself was
It could have
specifically haunted.
Yeah. Either way, that book could still be in circulation.
So visit the Kentwood Library.
If you want to maybe get a haunted book that you can take home.
I like that.
Isn't that fun?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I actually do have a library story, but it is not a Kent District Library branch.
Okay.
So, my next story is about the Grand Rapids Public Library main branch, the big one downtown.
Oh, yeah. That place can be spooky just because of the size of it.
Well, and it's such a beautiful building.
Oh,
if you have not visited that branch, go and visit it after COVID. But it is so nice. But anyway, the first director, not the first director, but a director of that library, his name was Samuel Rank, and he was a wartime librarian.
Ooh.
During World War I.
Oh, look what I found.
What?
Another spooky house.
They're just so menacing looking at night.
They sure are.
Why did we decide to do this in the dark?
Because spooky.
Okay, so he was a wartime librarian during World War I, and in 1918, he traveled to France. He was working with the American Library Association's war services.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome, to provide support to the soldiers who were fighting overseas. He also took a lot of photos and documented his entire thing, and all of that documentation is at the downtown branch if anyone ever wants to go and visit their archives. So after the war, he came back home, he became director, he lived out his life in Grand Rapids, died in the 1950s, is buried nearby. And ever since, he has been seen haunting the public library.
Oh.
Yes, so, oh no, up there?
No, we're good. That's just to
okay.
get to the dune.
Okay.
We don't want to go to the dune.
So, he's usually seen in the basement, in the storage area. He's dressed in a dark green or a dark gray military uniform, and he's usually seen examining the collection.
Yeah.
So clearly I needed more information about this. Who are we kidding, right?
Yeah.
So I reached out to the library, to their history department, to see if anybody had any other information about wartime librarian / director Samuel Rank. And I got the best response. It was so I'm not going to lie to you, I forgot to ask permission to use this librarian's name. So for the purposes of this story, we will call them Michael.
All right.
So Michael he wrote to me and he said he's never seen anything in the basement.
Okay.
He's never seen anything down where everyone claims to have seen Samuel Rank. But on October 13th, 2017, he experienced something on the 4th floor, the local history floor of the main branch. Now, I went and looked up online, to check the date.
Yeah.
And October 13th, 2017 was a Friday the 13th.
Oh, no.
So, I'm not, saying that makes it creepier, but I definitely think that it makes it a little bit creepier.
Oh, yeah.
So, he was upstairs working, and he was at, a microfilm station, which I realize many of us are too young to really have experience with microfilm or microfiche, but, imagine he is sitting and looking at a screen and just checking stuff. It was 5:30. Everyone else had gone home. He was alone upstairs, working away, doing his thing, and all of a sudden, he catches motion out of the corner of his eye. And there's these big glass doors to his right. And he sees a patron walking past behind him. I mean, it's not unheard of that maybe you would have missed someone in the building right after closing. So he spins around and he looks behind him, and there's a patron coming out of the shelves, walking towards him. And Michael's like, I'm so sorry, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And the guy doesn't answer. He walks past the microfilm station and around the corner of a support pole, he doesn't even hear Michael talking. So Michael gets up, he starts to walk towards the guy, he turns around the pillar, and there's no one there.
Oh.
So Michael's like, okay, maybe it's a teen like playing a prank.
Yeah,
He looks under a table, there's nothing there, and there's nothing back where this guy could disappear to. But there's no sign of the person, and there's no sign that he was ever there. Like, nothing is disturbed. So Michael, already a little bit creeped out, said that the thing that bothered him the most about this encounter was the fact that despite having looked at this person for a solid 3-4 seconds, he doesn't know what they look like.
Oh, no.
That they were maybe like dressed in dark gray or black.
Yeah.
But even though at the time he didn't think anything about it was creepy or out of the ordinary, he has no memory of the figure's face.
Which means he probably didn't have the face. So, which your body doesn't register that right away.
He has never experienced anything creepy before or since.
Yep.
Has never seen anything involving Samuel Rank, but he said he will never forget what happened to him.
No way.
In 2017.
Would you ever forget something like that? Ah.
So that's my story of wartime librarian Samuel Rank.
That's tough to beat that one. Samuel Rank, you seem really cool and also really terrifying at the same time. So, this is, I'll just say a little one. This is a, if you're scared of like roads at night, you probably won't like this one.
Roads?
Yeah, at night. You probably won't like it.
I'm really excited I get to drive home alone after this.
Yes, so, someone I knew was driving out of the branch at night, and I hate to tell you this, it was a branch you know.
Which branch? My branch?
It's a branch you know, but it wasn't a branch yet. It was the area. The new Amy Van Andel branch. Someone worked around that area.
My beautiful future
They were driving
branch. Don't creep me out about
out
it.
at night. And downtown, which is very pretty this time of year, by the way. And there's like,
yes, shop downtown Ada.
yeah. There's like this little less interchange, and there's like the Amway right across the street. That light.
Okay.
So right before they were going to take a left, and this is like middle of the night, they were waiting because there was someone at the crosswalk. And they were waiting for them to cross. They were starting to get impatient, and then they realized the person made it about halfway across and just vanished.
No.
Just vanished.
No.
Yep.
In the middle of the night?
In the middle of the night, in a busy area, right next to our newest future branch, the Ada Amy Van Andel branch. Which reminds me of another story I personally had, where
why have you had so many spooky encounters?
I grew up in a rural northern Kent County community where I am convinced there's nothing but ghosts and aliens. That's what we got.
And
some
cows.
trees and some cows. Yeah. That's what we got. That's where they hang out. So my parents are driving home, and there was like an exit off of 131, and there's a spot where if you keep driving, you can turn left or right, but if you go straight through, you're just gonna hit a house.
Okay.
So there's nothing else around there for miles. This is about 2 a.m. And they looked, and they looked again, and they noticed, looked like there was someone out there. So they just kind of hung out at the stop sign, and as clear as like you and me, right in front of the sign, there was a guy just standing there but looking directly into the headlights and not blinking
No.
at all. So they just sat there with this guy that was just staring right at lights, not blinking. And then they went, should we go? And then the guy backed up and was behind the sign, but didn't lower himself to do it.
Like he went through it?
Went through it.
Nope, think so.
So if you want to visit beautiful rural northern Kent County, be aware, spooky things happen out there at night.
I feel like all my stories are tame comparatively.
Well, roads can be spooky.
Well, all right, so my next one, which is my longest one, I apologize, but I just got excited when I was learning about it. I could not have a spooky seasonal walk through the woods without talking about Holmdene Manor.
Whoa.
Because I went to Aquinas College, so I need to give a shout out to our resident haunted building. So all of the information that I'm about to tell you comes from interviews,
Okay.
the book Ghosts of Grand Rapids, which is great, an article on MLive, and also an article on Ghost Quest.
Oh, nice.
And from what I was told when I went on what turned out, I think, to be like a not sponsored by the school ghost tour when I was 19 and living on campus.
Yeah.
You know, as one
yeah.
does. So, Holmdene Manor. So, in 1908, Edward and Sarah Lowe, who were prominent figures in Grand Rapids society, decided to build Holmdene Manor.
Okay.
They actually went on, I believe, to found both Blodgett and Butterworth Hospitals.
Oh, that's cool.
So there you go. So they decided to build Holmdene Manor. It was this beautiful, beautiful house. And after both of them died in the 30s, it was sold off. The Dominican sisters purchased it. They moved Aquinas College there in the 40s, I believe. And actually, Holmdene was originally the school library.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yes, so that was nice. And now it holds the offices, or at least it did. I guess they might have changed it, but it held the offices.
Oh, I don't like that.
It held
thanks.
the offices of all of... No, it's just creepy.
All right, anyway, story.
So it held the offices of all of my favorite English teachers.
Yeah.
And they also use it for like visitors and that kind of thing. But the haunted part. So the story goes that James Lowe, the young son of Edward Lowe, died in a tragic accident when he was just a young boy.
Yeah.
He fell down the dumbwaiter of the house. And if you are not familiar with what a dumbwaiter is, imagine like a very, very small elevator that is built into the side of the building so that you can run food up and down the different stories. So, died in this tragic fall. Well, if you're going to be looking at actual facts, this didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
But the story persists to this day, and rumors of all sorts of creepy things happening have been being told for decades. Security guards walking through the building will report seeing like entire halls of lights turning on and off. Staff members will say that they've heard the creak of the dumbwaiter, even though the dumbwaiter is not currently operational.
Don't like that.
Visitors will say, Are there children in this building? Because they'll hear the laughter of little humans.
Nope.
And the pitter-patter of tiny feet.
And as stated earlier, the only thing scarier than ghosts.
Ghost children.
Ghost children.
Ghost
Absolutely
children.
terrifying. Yep.
And students for decades reported seeing flickering lights or the menacing shadow of a figure in a window. In fact, one of the windows, which is in the attic, overlooks the biggest dorm.
Yep.
And they had so many sightings, they boarded it up.
No.
So that no one would be able to see into the window anymore. You know, that's how you fix ghost sightings. So, my coworker Holly, who you've met, shout out to Holly, she went to Aquinas College and had a spooky encounter at Homedene Manor. She was an art student, and she was at Homedene for part of her introductory drawing class.
Yeah.
She was told to go and draw the inside of a building anywhere on campus.
Let me guess which one she picked.
Well, of course she picked Homedene.
Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful building.
Place. And so she and two other classmates went to Homedene and went up to the attic where she figured there would be like the best looking architecture. Who knows? And they got up there and they did notice that like there wasn't much light, but the light that was coming in through the attic windows made these really great shadows on the wall. You know, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So they settled in, they started drawing, it was all great. And as they were going, she noticed that like there was a noise behind her. But they're clumsy college kids. And so I think they kind of assumed that when they'd gone in and settled down, they'd knocked some stuff loose.
Yeah, which, understandable.
That's it, exactly, no big deal. So, they kind of ignored it. And then, halfway through their drawing, Holly had to go and get something to drink. So she put down her paper, she put down her pencil, and she walked downstairs.
Yeah.
Now, none of the other kids went with her. They all stayed in their separate little corners drawing. Holly got back about 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
Everything looked exactly the same. The kids hadn't moved. No one seemed to have noticed she'd been gone. But when she looked at her paper that she'd been drawing on, there was the picture of the window and the deep shadows that she'd drawn. And peering out of the deep shadows was like a lightly drawn figure.
No.
Staring out at Holly.
Nope. No.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So, like, could her classmates have drawn it?
Possibly.
Sure. Of course. But they didn't seem to have moved. They claimed they hadn't done it. And they seemed just as surprised as Holly when she showed them what had happened.
No.
And like to this day, she still has no idea who or what drew that on her artwork.
Because you don't know, and that's a truly unique thing. And
you can't go to Homedene and like wander the halls in the hopes of hearing a non-existent dumbwaiter.
yeah.
But
Did you hear something weird?
if you want...
Yeah.
What? Did you hear something weird?
I heard something weird.
It's like a clunk.
Like a what?
I don't know. Heard like a weird thumpy noise.
Like weird thumping
I'm sure it's
noise?
nothing. I'm sure just the story got to me a little.
Okay, I don't want to be in the back.
Well, probably don't want to be in the front either. We'll be fine.
Okay.
We're not the one with the giant shining light.
That's true. You'll be the first one picked off, David. All right, sally forth.
Okay.
So, if you do want to have maybe a little bit of a creepy experience.
Oh, gross.
What?
I think
What? What?
you know how like deer like to move around at night.
Uh-huh.
fine.
Where we're heading, right?
Yeah, we can just finish up and be.
I'm sorry, what's happening? David,
Don't go too far out.
David, you're going to get eaten. What is
This
going
is how
on?
you get eaten.
Are you seeing things?
No, I'm hearing like weird noises.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I thought I heard something, but the road is right there too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just Dave and I like working ourselves up or what.
Okay, well, I don't need to go walk further that way.
We're almost done.
Oh my gosh.
We're winners.
Yeah,
We're winners.
you know how in
Winners.
the scary movie they do the dumb thing?
Yes.
And everyone yells at them to not do the dumb thing?
Yeah.
This is the dumb thing.
No, it's not the dumb thing. It's not the dumb thing.
One of us
I was
is going to
getting
get
lost in the woods
dragged
earlier.
into
That
the
was kinda
trees
dumb.
and eaten by giant spiders.
It's way too cold for spiders.
Not
So-
giant ones.
I mean, if a bear was walking around right now, it'd be a bad day.
So
but-
if you want to have a creepy experience of your own at home, Dean, if you go to visit in the day and you see their beautiful, beautiful gardens next to the house,
Yep.
there is in the garden this decorative stone.